Greetings, Mind Crafters, and welcome to another exciting episode, another Mindcraft episode. My name is Kimberly Quinn, and I am thrilled to be your hostess with the mostest today to chat about, of course, all the different ways to become the boss of your brain. And today, our topic is on hands meditation, right? So, meditation via movement, I'm a big fan. And certainly there's nothing wrong with, all the different meditations out there, the sitting ones, standing ones, lying down ones. And then we've got the movement ones like Tai Chi Cha, which I love. I got a friend of mine is a master at that, and she's amazing. And then there's the naturals like the running and the skiing and everything that I know I feel far more meditative and relaxed when I'm in movement. So it's kind of to each their own. Today, though, we're not going to focus so much on that. That's Giovanni pushing his little bone around the room. So we're in real life time right here. So that's what that is. Okay, so because that is certainly a way to meditate, relax, and hikes in the woods. Obviously, I'm a big fan. Giovanni and I are both big fans, but I'm more talking about tasks, even household tasks. And this is such a good fit for a conversation for Mindcraft because various, retreats, mental health, well-being type retreats, when people skate off from their often their busy urban professional lives from anywhere. But I think there's definitely a draw for the fast lane crew. And when they slow it down, they go to an ashram. That can be in India, that can be in Manhattan, that can be anywhere, or just a retreat that's about mindfulness. And often there are tasks assigned to people. And even if you've seen the movie Eat, Pray, Love, which is after Elizabeth Gilbert's book, and Julia Roberts stars in that. She's really good, in my opinion, in that. And eventually gets to the ashram in India, and she's assigned. I forget if she's washing the floor or picking the tomatoes or whatever she's doing. But there's a lot to be said when our hands are busy because our minds often really get a rest. And so my inspiration today is Sarah von Bresnik. And wow, I've just expanded my horizon because I just ordered some new books based on recommendations from people, and I'm so excited to just dive right into those. I have a couple of plane trips and back to back. I got to do some flying around for different things, and I'm looking forward to having some good reads on the trip. So anyway, Sarah starts out with a shaker axiom, and this it doesn't say who, it's just a shaker axiom. Hands to work, hearts to God. There you go. So remember her Simple Abundance book. She's the author of Simple Abundance, and it's a day book of comfort and joy that I read mostly in my 30s, and it's making a comeback with me in my mid 50s. Now late event actually, because now that I'm a fabulous 58, I think I crossed over into late 50s. But anyway, I'm thrilled to be 58. Think of the alternative. So when I say women, because she says women, and I don't want to misquote her, that obviously, if you're not an identifying female, this still can hold true for you. Obviously, I just want to read it as she says it because I don't want to, misspeak. So she starts out with saying many women, especially if they have children, simply can't find 20 uninterrupted minutes every day to meditate. Boy, is that the truth. We have five fabulous young adults who obviously were once little, and they're only a couple of years apart. And I loved every second of being home, though that is true. Like, forget meditate, just even a quiet moment to sit in the bathroom by yourself is really different, challenging. So she says, but those of us who can carve out those precious minutes to sit down and be still often find our minds racing on without us. Definitely. The truth is that traditional meditation methods take time, practice, and discipline before they yield restorative rewards. After a few attempts in which nothing happens, many of us get discouraged and give up. That is very, very true, which, brings me to the other thing when we're trying to, 'cause it goes right along with the being mindful and meditative, because when we clear our mind, calm mind is a powerful mind, right? So when we're trying to also live our best life and have a lot of positive change and such like that, practice is how it happens. Whatever we practice, we get good at, right? So this is very, very important. And the other thing I was going to say about that is involving positive change. We've been talking about, manifesting things, and it does fit here because she's saying people give up before they see the results. Well, that also happens when we've planted a seed for something. In my metaphor, analogy, or whatever, is when a farmer plants a seed for for something, plants a corn seed, let's say, he or she or they don't, dig up the beautiful rich dirt 2 weeks in and say, "Hey, how's the sprouts coming?" They just kind of have faith that it's all going to come to fruition. And same thing with shifting into new habits. People often give up before they see results with weight loss or get feeling fit or whatever. We just aren't a patient group, I think, is what it is. So, with meditation and results from meditation and being mindful, because they're not necessarily the same, people often do give up. And that's unfortunate because it's typically right before things are about to bust through. Same thing with running. You bust through the wall, they call it, and now all of a sudden you can run. You go from like feeling like you're breathing through a dish towel. When you push through the wall, you can literally run as many miles as you want. You probably stop more out of boredom or time than because you can't breathe or something. So that's a very good point that she makes. And then she says, because this is real life, I've tried to find other ways to induce a meditative state, even in the midst of chaos. One of the best methods is through meditative handwork. When other people see that our hands are busy, they often give us a few moments' peace before making their next request. What they don't know, and she says, and we shall never reveal, is that when our hands are busy, our minds can rest. That is so true what Sarah's saying right here. And my own personal example of this is when I've used this before for different reasons. When our dishwasher broke, is like literally 2 decades ago, but it was right in the heat of when the kids were in those ages where they could help. Let's say from, I don't know, from like 7 to 12 in there, and they could do a little something. And the dishwasher broke. And so we were washing them by hand because at that time we couldn't afford to get another one. And then I noticed, of course, the kids booked because our kids have always been very helpful actually with doing their household tasks. But my husband and I took over for a while because the little one couldn't reach, and trying to help put the forks because they can reach to help their brother or sister put the forks in there. They actually like that job, but they can't reach way up high. And so we kind of just started doing the dishes, and we're alternating the two of us. And after a while, the warm water, the suds, the peace, it was so meditative. And long story made a little shorter, it was either 7 or 8 years later we replaced the dishwasher. And at that point we could afford it. It wasn't about that anymore. It was so incredibly peaceful. The kids would go downstairs, and we would just talk, and it really ended up being an enjoyable dishwashing experience. So then Sarah continues. Remember, I'm saying women, but it can be you if you're not female. The creative artistry of handicrafts has been a part of women's domestic daily round for centuries. Handwork in all its many varieties was high art for Victorian women. This intimate and intricate soul craft gave exquisite outward expression to countless authentic artists who were often straitjacketed by the expectations of a rigid society. It's only in the last 30 years or so, and this book is older than that. So um, it was only about in the last 30 years that was once esteemed has been demeaned, as handicrafts have been demoted from being every woman's accomplishment to the personal pursuit of a chosen few. Wow, that's really true. And at this point, it's more like 50 or 60 years ago. And then she says, and I know the argument well, women today don't have the time for crafts the way our foremothers did. So true. Victorian women had more time on their hands because they didn't work outside the home. As far as I'm aware, Victorian women had 24 hours each day to spend, save, or squander. And while they weren't commuting to a job outside their homes, they were beating rugs, washing dirty cotton diapers by hand, hanging the laundry to dry on a line, cooking without electricity and refrigeration, baking from scratch, tending the sick without modern medicines, and nurturing families larger than most of us do today. I have to say, wow, because I can't imagine do like a Back to the Future thing, um, and but went the other direction. How much work it was to be in that era, and even outside of all the social issues around how women were viewed and their place and all that stuff, just the actual work. That said, rarely is something, as we say frequently in Minecraft, is anything all positive or negative. It's usually somewhere in between. And one thing I have to say about that lifestyle of constantly beating rugs, washing cotton diapers, hanging laundry on the line, cooking without electricity or refrigeration, that means it's daily every day. If you can't store stuff, you're getting that, you're inventing the wheel every single day. And I suppose the advantage to that would be an incredible peace of mind. And obviously they had a different stresses with, I mean, think about it, the dentist, the medical, I mean, they had, infant mortality was high. I'm not saying all that. I'm saying like just day-to-day regular kind of stress was probably, they were, because you're forced to stay in the minute, right? If you're every day, you're inventing the wheel with every single meal, the laundry, all of it, kids, no lights, no hot water without heating it. I mean, it was probably significantly less anxiety, honestly, because things were simple and they were in the moment. I just had to throw that out there. The sense of time certainly speeded up. Should that be sped? Anyway, I don't want to correct anybody. The sense of time certainly has speeded up in the last century, but not the amount of it available. In fact, Victorian women probably had less time than we do. They didn't have as long as women today, and without electricity, they weren't able to blur the distinction between day and night the way we do. That's a very good point. She says, frankly, women have always had too much to do. Amen, sister. Oh my God, it's 2023. We're comparing things to Victorian women, and part of me thinks that the dynamic isn't all that different. Obviously, it's a whole different era with electricity and and technology and good medical treatment and all that stuff. But the dynamic seems fast, even though their fast was different than our fast, if that makes sense. So she said it's just that Victorian women often coped better than we do. They realized the restorative power of rhythm, routine, rest, recreation, and ritual. I like that a lot. Let's say it again. It's just that Victorian women often coped better than we do. They realized the restorative power of rhythm, routine, rest, recreation, and ritual. These things are very calming. In fact, I did another episode before the holidays. I did one this year. I think I did something similar in a year or two ago also because, there are pros and, again, we just said there are pros and cons to most things. And tradition and routine, I guess you just have to pick the traditions and the routine that you like and that suit you. But there's a lot to be said. The brain loves patterns, and that can go a bad way or a good way. If it's a routine that's soothing, then that can be highly beneficial to one's mental health. Let's say a hot bath routine at night, which I have personally. That's enormously even better yet with a glass of wine on the side. In a book, but bubbles, everything. That is a wonderfully, it's just a great routine that really, at the end of the day, I look forward to it. I find it enormously relaxing. I just told you about the dishes thing from years ago and routines of having dinner together and with babies. Our oldest daughter just had our beautiful little Isabel, and the bath routine with the baby. I remember when they're all little in the bath and the reading. They were all in their little jammies and fresh as a daisy from their baths and read them books. That stuff is soothing for everybody and can relieve tension. She says that they preserve their energy by alternating household and childcare tasks with centering pastimes that provided creative fulfillment and relief from tension. And then Sarah Bond Brednick, author of Simple Abundance, really good book. Highly suggest it, especially for women because it's geared to women. You could obviously read it if you're not female, but she's geared entirely to women, so that works for me, obviously. But then she goes on here talking about, well, it doesn't matter what you're inclined to do. It doesn't matter if you feel you're creative or not, though my own personal opinion on that is we're all creative. We just have to make the time and allow it to come forth. But if you're artsy or you're not artsy, it doesn't matter. Whatever you're inclined to do, it's talking about the dishes, but you might be into, the crafty stuff is really soothing though. My best friend from St. Mike's even built herself recently, or had it built actually, I think. A craft, we call it the craft cave in there, that's part of her garage now. It's her own space. Oh my gosh, it's the best. And she ordered like, it looks like a dresser, but it's made for crafts. There's all these little itty bitty drawers, like for, I don't know, stickers and tacks and paint and stuff. And it's all her own color choices. And she loves the Cape and the beach. So it just looks all capey and beachy. And it's really nice. So you also can learn something. So whether you do needlepoint, I said, or knitting, or you like to make beautiful holiday cards. I have a friend who does that actually too, different friend. And or you like to do ceramics, you like to write, But this stuff just all decoupaging, putting photo albums together. I actually decoupaged right through when our kids were kind of in that nice sweet spot there again, like 7 to 12, where it just was kind of easy. Then nobody, no more diapers, juice boxes, things like that, and they're not old enough to drive or have girlfriends or boyfriends, and it was a good, definitely. I mean, it's all a good stage, but that one you could actually grab a minute where you're not watching them by the electrical outlets every second, And I decoupage chairs, and oh my gosh, I get them at yard sales and pay hardly anything for them, and then refinish them and do beautiful scenes, winter scenes, mountain scenes, and I really, really enjoyed that. And it is soothing, and it's tactile because when your hands are in paint or in decoupaging, your hands are like in the substancy, gluey kind of stuff, and it's just, oh my gosh, it's the sensation is so relaxing. Never mind, it's just you get in the flow, right? That's from the work of Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, where you're just not concerned about the time. You're just in it, and it's not for any kind of end goal like a paycheck or anything. It's just purely joyful to do it. And when you add in the tactile stuff, like having your hands immersed in paint or gluey stuff, and you're kind of smearing it around. Oh my gosh, it is a total tension reducer, and it's just so relaxing. So Sarah says, because especially if you haven't, if you don't have a hobby, you haven't done a craft or something, you can just start from scratch. Like, why not? Just pick something. And she says, just start small, just basically start something. So you don't even have to sign up for a class if you don't think you have the time. Many marvelous and reasonably priced kits are available at craft shops and through mail order. The important thing is to keep trying one new thing each season until you find something you love. I love that advice because the whole idea with it, I think I almost want to say, I mean, in life in general, but definitely in your later years, when you have less time in front of you than behind you, hopefully you're doing more of what you really want to do because the clock's ticking. You know what I mean? So if it's going to be your leisure thing, your fun thing, make sure you really like it and hopefully love it. And then she says, whatever handicraft you choose to pursue, be sure to keep your favorite project in clear view. If you store your unfinished needlepoint canvas in the closet, that's where it'll remain. Find an attractive basket to hold everything in one place so the next time you find a few minutes, you don't waste them by looking for your supplies. That is huge. And we've talked about the 20-second rule that, Sean Aker in his Happiness Advantage book. Because that's how we lose the juice. For me, it's the gratitude journal, which is right on our windowsill, or sometimes right on the coffee table next to where I write. So if within 20 seconds you want to be able to find the sneakers to run, find the gratitude journal to write with a pen, right? So if you want to start your needlepoint thing, you don't want to have to go looking for it. You don't want it out of sight in a closet, buried someplace. So the idea of a pretty, like, inviting basket is a good one. And then she says, the Austrian novelist Marie von Ebner-Eschenbach wrote in 1905 that nothing is so often irretrievably missed as a daily opportunity. For many of us, the daily opportunity missed is the pursuit of pleasure. The next time the fabric of real life seems to unravel before your eyes, get busy with your hands so that your mind can serenely sort out where to pick up the next stitch. I love that. Awesome. So meditation with on hands, tasks, crafts, whatever. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from the absolutely frigid Northern Vermont. It's -9 today. Have a mindful day.